Welcome back to the It Takes a Village podcast. We are in episode number 2, and I'm so excited that you're here, that you're joining me on this journey, which I have no idea what's going to take me and us, but we'll see. So this podcast is it gives you a little glimpse into my life, and it's very informal. I'm currently sitting here with a bunch of carrots that I promised to help one of the world's best neighbors to prepare because she needs a big bowl of salad. And I have said to her many times, reach out if you want help with anything. And she did. And I'm celebrating this so much because I believe we women are we we are so much better off when we dare to ask for help and when we dare to receive help. So while I'm busy with my carrots, I thought, and the rest of the family is out, and I hope they'll stay out for a little moment. I will tell you a little bit about a topic that I touched on in episode number 1, and that is one of the main things that the people I'm working with are experiencing when they come to me very often. So that is that in some way they have entered this world of unconventional living. Maybe I should say that to all of you who don't know me. So I have free birthed my children. I am unschooling my children. I started my own soul business. And in general, I'm living a very different life than most other people. A lot of my days I'm living barefoot when I'm in warmer climates or warm seasons. I am living so much slower than most people. I spend so much more time with my children than most people. And I have so much more supportive people in my life than most other people, I believe. And I get to work with things and fill my days with things that feel deeply nourishing, that feel they are adding to me and to my life, that bring joy to me, that feel meaningful, that feel nourishing and uplifting and elevating. And I believe that is one of the biggest challenges when people are discovering that you can live life differently than most people in modern Western society, which is very much like you go to nursery, kindergarten, school, university, whatever, like whatever institution, and then you go and look for a job, and then you do that job, and somebody else tells you what to do and how to do it. And days usually look like getting up before you're well rested enough, waking up with an alarm clock. I wake up maybe with an alarm clock, maybe maximum 5 days a year or something. Probably less than most people wake up with an alarm clock per week. So most people wake up with an alarm clock before they feel ready to start the day. Then they rush to get away to drop their kids off somewhere in institutions, and then they rush to their own jobs. And then it's just a very stressful life. It doesn't necessarily feel meaningful. They are working for somebody else. They are draining their bodies and their spirits in picking up their kids, then rushing home, trying to do the groceries and the cooking and the cleaning and the laundry all at once, and then maybe squeezing in some activities, going to the gym, bringing kids to music lessons or sports training or whatever, and then going to bed early enough so that you can be kind of hopefully okay to start the new day in the same pattern. And that to me doesn't feel meaningful at all. And I don't believe that this is serving us as individuals and as society, because I feel that so many times so many people are sacrificing their health and also sacrificing so much of their life energy and their time and their talents for something else. And probably nobody really knows who they are sacrificing it for. Um, and once you notice that this is kind of, it's like almost like I like to envision it as a cage that most people are living in. However, the door is pretty open. I'm not saying it's totally easy to fly out, but you can fly out. And when you notice this, that can be a really scary moment and can feel very lonely, because suddenly you notice so many things. Maybe, we all have different paths. Maybe some people start by noticing that their body starts screaming and it just doesn't feel good for their bodies, or their bodies are simply collapsing or burning out or whatever. And other people may feel that their kids just don't do well at school. They maybe get bullied, or they feel totally overwhelmed, or maybe their kids are like crying so much every single time the parents are trying to drop them at daycare. And they just feel like in their hearts, even though everybody says like, this is how you do or how you should do, and they will get used to it and you just need to leave them. Maybe it feels deep down in your heart like, no, but this doesn't feel right. It simply doesn't feel right. And then maybe you start reading something online or connecting with one person, and suddenly you feel like, oh gosh, there's a totally different world out there. And that can be a scary moment, like I said before, and can feel really lonely. And now I want to talk a little bit about what I mentioned yesterday. That's about trampoline people in your lives, as I call it. So what usually happens when you are in a situation that you're suddenly finding yourself in, like you're realizing, oh my goodness, like what kind of world am I living in, and what am I actually modeling for my children? And is this really the best I can do for myself? Is this how I want to live life? And when you find yourself in this, then so many times you get questioned by other people, especially when you then start making steps towards this different life. And sometimes that can be really helpful and inspiring, but sometimes these questions or also comments and criticism can also weigh us down really a lot. That is what I envision as people putting like rocks into our backpacks or onto our past, and it's just making our past so much more challenging. And then it's just so beautiful once you realize, wow, there are actually rooms filled with people who are exactly on my path, and who didn't just start on this path yesterday like me, but who've actually been walking this path for months or years or decades even. And that is when it starts to get really cool, I think, because suddenly, instead of being held back and spending so much energy on feeling that you need to explain and justify, and you try to maybe defend yourself and your choices or your opinions, suddenly you realize, oh my goodness, like there are so many people out there who are living this life that I'm dreaming of, and who have already been walking this path or who are on it, and I can just join them. So instead of using my energy to kind of just stabilize myself, I can actually use my energy to propel myself forwards. So this is what I'm super much passionate about, to help people who have found this or feel this calling to walk this kind of path in life, which I believe is so important for the trajectory of humanity, because I believe we all probably can agree that where we are today, or where we have been walking to in the past decades or even centuries, or maybe even way longer, has not really been beneficial. And in order to create something new, we need to do something new. We need to think something new. We need to explore different paths. And this is where we're doing this. And we need people who are those wayshowers, who are the ones that dare to fly out of the cage and try something different, who dare to ask questions, who dare to just explore and see what else is out there. How else could you do things? This is not serving me, so what can I do instead? And for example, I can see this in my group program, Rooted and Free, how beautiful this is when we get to connect with people who are like-minded and like-hearted, and suddenly not feel alone anymore, but instead feel deeply held and supported, like a place that feels safe, that feels almost like home, a place where we can be ourselves and let ourselves be seen as we are, with all the imperfections that every single one of us holds. And then from there, being supported on our journey onwards. So this is a big passion of mine, to help you to create your village or find your village, and in so many different ways. I will talk about this more, and I talk about this all the time, how exactly to do this. If you have any specific questions, you can always reach out to me. And you can also just follow my spaces here and on my website and on social media, where I constantly also make recommendations. I'm creating also a lot of spaces, both physical and online spaces. It was actually so interesting a while ago. One of the beautiful women who I get to serve within Rooted and Free, she said to me, Rebecca, before I joined Rooted and Free, I was so skeptical towards online places, and I just felt, I didn't believe that you can create deep relationships just through the internet. And then she felt somehow stuck, because in her immediate physical environment, she couldn't find the people that those trampoline people. She felt like there are some people that are like living similarly or holding kind of similar values, and yet it's not exactly what she's looking for or what she's dreaming of. And then getting this experience that actually we can create really beautiful and really deep relationships through the internet. And then, like, it's just so powerful that these relationships can also turn into real life relationships, right? Like inside of Virgin and Free, my program, women have actually like visited each other, and like every time I'm seeing this, and they are visiting each other across countries and making plans together, like real life plans together and projects together, and just becoming friends and supporting each other. It's just so magical. And the beauty of online spaces is that I don't know about you, but for me, like my people are not like I'm not mm, getting friends with like just random people. Like it's very particular people that get to be in my inner circles because I'm so different than most people. And it's really, really important. I'm pretty selective by now who I want to be with because I don't want to use my energy just to weigh me down or flow out. I want to be in really beautiful, meaningful, supportive, inspiring, elevating relationships. And those people, they are maybe 1 out of 1,000 or 1 out of 10,000 or something. And unless you have found a place where you work, where you're living, like physically living in an environment where you have a ton of trampoline people like in your immediate environment, which I hope that you will, if you, or you will eventually, if this is what you're longing for. And this is, for example, I do once a year, I do this revillaging event where I actually help people to find exactly that. But if you don't do this, like, then how are you going to find your people? And then the choice is between taking the people that are in your immediate environment that might be those people that don't align with your way of living and thinking and envisioning life, or you get to be really selective and intentionally create relationships with people who are aligned with your values and visions and who help you to do this, what I call mind stretching. I don't know, did I mention this earlier in this video? Like mind stretching, when you get to be with people who are living such a different life and who have answers to questions that you never even thought you could ask, and who are just living things so differently compared to whatever else you have been doing before, or whatever else you've experienced or observed before. And that is just so powerful because it takes you into totally new realms. And it really is the magic to quantum leaps, I believe, because you don't have to figure it all out by yourself, but you get so many ideas into your life and you get the support to also just do the things instead of like, because when we are by ourselves, often a big part of our fear that we experience in life is that we either feel lonely or we fear to be lonely after doing the thing because maybe we're gonna do things differently than our people. Maybe we're gonna step out of the line or fly out of the cage. So for me, it's really, really important to be with people who not only accept that I'm doing these things, that I'm trying new things, that I'm expanding myself, and yet also finding back to myself even more. And I want people in my life who don't only accept that, but who cheer me on this journey and who inspire me on this journey. And I do the same for them. And I wish the very same thing for you if this is what you're calling in for your life. And like I said before, if you want to have support on this journey, hang out in my corners of the internet. And I constantly try to create these spaces and also spaces to help you to get them. Now my family is coming back. Send you much love. Thank you for being here with me today. See you next time.